Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's another edition of the Jimmy Johnson Fangirl Podcast, also known as Pizza at the Pagoda. My name is Chris Graham. Thank you for listening. I'm not sure why you do. Joined tonight by Ben Carswell, James Watson, Jason Owens, and Mike McCullen. We'll start things off as we always do. Gentlemen, what are we drinking tonight? We'll start with you, Ben.
I have a Bitburger Radler, or Bitburg Radler, whatever it's called. You know, the German stuff. Bitburger.
Okay.
Radler.
Interesting choice.
So, watered down beer with lemonade. Got it.
No, it's lemonaded down beer. There's no water.
And Bitburger is already garbage German beer.
So you're saying it's sort of
Bitburger.
like Jimmy Johnson's IndyCar career.
Watered down and... No.
Damn.
In that occasionally it has a perfect moment where it succeeds, but usually it's not very good.
Oh, we're 3 minutes in.
No, I think that Radlers have a very good... This is going to sound like a degenerate comment, and I want you to hear me out. It's a good breakfast beer. Because it's very low alcohol content. It's like 2% or 2.5% alcohol.
Why would
It's
you drink a
very low.
Radler when you can just have a Bloody Mary?
It's
Because I'm not bougie like you. I didn't just go to Italy. I'm not like, ooh, look at my pasta that I just made. Ooh.
Wow.
Fancy, all right?
A minute for this to go.
If it doesn't come in a can.
I didn't make any pasta. Let's just set the record clear. Like I'm
Didn't
not.
you take... Oh, you took a pizza making class in Italy.
Yes, a pizza making class.
That's different.
I did not deign to make pasta.
Look, if it doesn't come in a can, I'm not drinking.
All right, I'm gonna start calling you Spaghetti-O from now on.
Spaghetti-O. That's what we should say if something ever happens to Jimmy. Spaghetti-O.
Allegedly.
Oh, wow.
We're already off the rails.
Yes.
Mike, what are you
James,
drinking?
James, what are you drinking?
I am drinking vitamin water, the acai blueberry pomegranate flavor, otherwise known as Triple X.
Okay.
James, I have a question. Have you ever had Swedish fish?
Of course I have.
Do you think that tastes like Swedish fish?
You know, I've never thought about that, but now that I think about it, you might be onto something.
Uh-huh.
You know what my go-to Indy 500 race day bagged confection is?
Swedish fish.
Yeah, but you gotta soak them for about a week in Fireball before the race.
Yay.
Wow.
Is that what you're drinking right now?
I want that.
I
Jason,
think I
what are
would
you
try
drinking?
one.
What am I drinking? Because Air Canada is the worst national flag carrier airline in the world. We got back on Saturday and just got our bags today, which is Tuesday. So we opened one of the bottles of wine we brought back from Italy. So I have a nice 2016 Brunello di Montalcino that I'm noshing on.
Nice. Mike, what are you sipping on?
I'm just getting over being sick, so Gatorade Zero, blue flavor. Whatever the hell flavor this is, it's blue.
It's blue flavor.
It's soaked in the carcass of Cookie Monster.
Yeah, it tastes like blue. All you taste is chemicals.
See, I have sweet tea, but I have an excuse. Because sitting next to the sweet tea is a Brooklotic Islay Barley 2012. A beautiful scotch. Peaty,
nice.
malty. All right. Let's move along here. Since we've talked already, it is the Jimmy Johnson Fangirl Podcast Show. Ben, take a bow.
What do you know? Jimmy Johnson is good on ovals. What a shocker. Who could have guessed?
Yes.
I don't have anything else to say.
He was your
Thanks, Rowan.
pick to win. You are an avowed Jimmy Johnson fan.
I am.
That was an impressive run, though. We saw Jimmy making passes up in the PJ1 stuff that was supposed to be death and dismemberment.
Yeah, it was a good run. He made a lot of good passes. He battled Scott Dixon at Texas, which is, I don't know what else you can really ask for. I mean, it looked like Penske kind of had the car of the day with McLaughlin and Howard and Newgarden, and obviously the winner. They looked like they kind of had something that I don't think the Ganassi cars did. Just that extra half a tenth that they had. But yeah, he ran up with all the other Ganassi cars. That's the point that I made in the 5 takeaways that you can read on the National Racing Network. Is that he didn't run, this wasn't a good race by Jimmy Johnson standards. Where we look at it and we say, oh, he ran up and he finished 15th. That's a really good race for him. No, this was a good race for any driver in that Ganassi. He finished P6, one position ahead of Alex Palou, amidst all the other Ganassi cars. And that's exactly what you would expect of a driver in a Ganassi car. So this is not only just a good Jimmy Johnson race, it's a good race for any driver. I think that's encouraging that he can run up with the other cars and truly get, I don't know the most out of his machinery, but what he should be getting out of his machinery.
Well, and Jason, I think that's an interesting question because getting the most out of what you have went to Kyle Kirkwood, not Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy did what was expected of the Ganassi cars at Texas. Kyle Kirkwood, on the other hand, was insane.
After having a great race. I'm telling you, I know you guys laughed at me for saying Kirkwood had a chance to win that race. I legit think he had a top 5 potentially in the works before he got Devlined into the wall like Sato did. Like, that irritated the hell out of me.
Should be in the car that Devlin DiFrancesco is wasting space in.
Yeah, literally wasting space in.
And racking up Andretti's crash damage. That's less money that Michael could spend on his F1 team.
Not that Andretti needed the help in the first place.
Let's see. Should we
damage your batteries?
We have clips.
Anvil, it has to hit one.
All right. Do we derail this and have the DiFrancesco discussion right now? Or do we have it later?
Well, I'll leave that up to Chris.
I'd say wait. We need something to keep the fine folks at home entertained and a reason for them to stay through the entire show.
Yes. Okay. Let's hit the rest of the picks and let's focus on Kirkwood, not DiFrancesco.
Yes.
Even though he permeates every part of the race at this point.
So far, 2 good picks out of our winners last week. Ben taking Jimmy Johnson, Jason taking Kyle Kirkwood, who was impressive until what we will discuss later. James, you took Alex Palou, who managed to finish behind Jimmy Johnson.
Well, if someone didn't steal my usual pick, I would have ended up better, but someone had to be a jerk.
Good point.
I will lay claim I was the dick. I took Will Power with a fantastic 4th place finish. By the way, if I slur my words, it's not the whiskey. It's the fact that I can hear my voice in my ear. I promise.
Now he knows what the rest of us have to deal with.
You have no idea.
Good one.
So, Willpower was good, as expected. The Penske cars were pretty damn impressive. Looking at Mike's pick for the weekend, Scotty Mack, 2nd. Not bad.
Yeah. So
is this the expectation now of Scotty Mac?
Yes. I was driving back from Sebring, listening to the race on the radio, and I hear Scotty Maxon first. I'm like, yes, I picked one, and fucking Newgarden.
James and Mike sharing their hatred of Newgarden now.
Yeah.
My wife had to listen to it all the way from the middle of Georgia to North Carolina, me bitching about Newgarden.
I wish you were on the watch party stream with us, because I think we all would have enjoyed to hear your long rant about Newgarden.
It would have been good just to see your face as he someone on the last.
Yes.
That would have been good to see. But I think I feel like P2 doesn't really do Scotty Mac's race justice.
No,
It was
186 laps led.
It was definitely a
dominated that race.
Yeah,
he dominated that race, and if it wasn't for lap traffic, he would have won the damn race. But he got stuck with lap traffic. Newgarden caught up to him and fucking pipped him at the line, and it's bullshit. I almost had a pick.
Well, if it wasn't for lap traffic, J.R. Hildebrand would have an Indy 500 win.
Oh,
why?
Boy.
Why would you do that? That's just cruel.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I
We
mean,
move
we're
on
already
the
throwing
anchovies
daggers,
on that note.
so now let's flip over.
When we don't have a show for a few weeks, we get angry at each other.
We all go
Apparently.
crazy.
Coming in
Rage.
hot.
Pent up rage.
I'm just
well,
mad that Chris didn't order us the Danny Rick glass shoey decanter as a show prop.
At $700 a pop,
saying that it wouldn't have the real funk.
Sure, I'm
I'm
looking
not
at the
gonna pay
message
for
right
it.
now. Oh, no. Address what you said.
I mean, it's true. It's glass. It's not going to have the same foot funk as a full race distance shoey, right? Like, that's an indisputable
Racing
statement.
wheels that are more expensive.
Yeah, but those are
Just
racing
saying.
wheels.
this tells me
Glass
we
racing
need
shoe that you
something
can
like
drink
this
out of.
as a trophy.
That's what we should get as a trophy for whoever gets the best on the picks throughout the year. A shoe.
We should 3D print a plastic
shoe?
shoey decanter.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Then we get cancer from the plastic. Fantastic. I can't wait.
Oh my
I think I know someone with a 3D printer. This is a thing now.
Yep.
Chris,
All
who
right.
are anchovies?
Anchovies of the week. Mike McCullen. You dumb.
Yeah, terrible pick, Mike.
Yeah, I know. I fucked up.
Only outdone, possibly, by me. Taking Scotty McLaughlin.
Why?
Okay, here was my logic on this. Was anything less than a win a disappointment? I would say yes.
No. Your original logic, by the way, was anything less than podium.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
He
what
still
you
got
originally said, and he was on the podium.
Newgarden nipped the tip
Yeah,
and got
Newgarden.
McLaughlin at the line.
It wasn't like Ericsson. It was Newgarden. A two-time champion. He was a two-time champion, right? Yeah, two-time champion.
My logic for Jimmy Johnson was, and I'm happy to be wrong. Again, I am a reformed Jimmy Johnson hater. I am happy to be wrong. My logic was that if he finishes anywhere out of P10, it would be a disappointment for him because he was expected to do well, and he did well. So I am happy to be wrong because I got my other pick very right.
Mike, are you telling us that you found Shadow Jesus?
I have come to see the ways of the Shadow Jesus. No, it's not that I like Jimmy Johnson. I'm glad that he is performing and not wasting a seat that could be going to somebody like Kyle Kirkwood. He's at least doing something with his seat. And bringing a bunch of money.
There. So, I think Chris has probably the worst anchovy. Should be honest. I don't think anybody picked New Garden.
No, nobody picked New Garden. So does that make Mike second worst?
Well, what are the other ones?
I'll own second worst for sure.
I won anchovy because I picked Rossi, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You won.
And he only made like barely a lap. So
he screwed up the start, and then his car, and that's pretty bad.
Yeah, that's the anchovy race to honestly end all anchovy races.
Yes,
can't really
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
So that's the winner. Chris is obviously the big loser here. Mine was Grosjean, I believe. I think Grosjean.
Okay, here's where things get interesting. Because, Ben, you had Roman Grosjean. Jason had Colton Herta.
Well,
Colton Herta finishing in the 12th position.
You and I had a discussion about whether or not this was a driver mistake, driver anchovy, or team anchovy. And I remember you said that
pretty sure there's not enough anchovies in the sea for Andretti at this point if we're handing out team anchovies.
Well, team as in like the 2019, the 2016, the 2017.
Correct.
Because otherwise you could just say Andretti every time.
I think Andretti just has earned an anchovy and we move on.
Yes, but we have to figure out who gets -2 points and who gets -1 point.
It's serious stuff, Mike. I don't know why you're trying to blow past it, okay? It's very serious and very important. I am going to say that Herta had a better performance than Grosjean. Because he ran up front all day, got screwed by an Andretti pit stop, and still finished 12th. Whereas Grosjean ran out of the top 10 for most of the day, I believe I'm correct in saying.
Yeah, but does that really count for the drivers, considering 3 of the last 4 cars on the grid were Andretti cars?
But I think we're going toward it being the crew of that car and that car's performance, right?
Well,
so Ben's a -2.
Porked Kirkwood. I should get a +1 for Kirkwood, is what you're telling me.
Rossi's battery is the anchovy.
No. Well, Rossi screwed up the start, too. Let's not forget that.
Oh, yes.
He jumped the start massively. And I watched the replay, by the way.
He's
That was an Irish jump
It was completely on him. There was no stack up. He just jumped it.
Yeah. It was bad. All right, so looking at pick standings after Texas, our points leader, this can't be right. There's no possible way. James Watson is leading the points. That's all we get from him.
He has the willpower to win the...
You're goddamn right I do.
Oh my god.
He was vapor locked for a second there.
Just like in Detroit.
Oh,
more like the ECU wouldn't refire.
Well,
just a straight kick in the balls.
Maybe it would have refired if he'd followed the shutdown procedures.
He would have followed the shutdown procedures if they weren't so convoluted. Okay, I'm not getting into that argument again.
Second in points is Ben Carswell. Third, Mike McCullen. Then it is me, followed by Jason Owens. 27 points back.
How are you not last, Chris? With VK at St. Pete, Scotty Mack here. You've had the worst 2 anchovy picks.
Well, here's why. Devlin DeFrancesco is why I am not last. Should we play the clip here? After this is
Do it.
after qualifying.
Yes.
Do it.
Please play the clip. Roll the
All
tape.
right, here you go. Roll tape.
All right, take me through your first day at Texas.
First day in Texas done, qualifying, and we did race practice in the books. Number 29, Andretti Power Top Starting Better Honda looks quite strong, looks quite promising in traffic and around people. And our in laps and out laps were strong, and the whole crew of the 29 car was strong in the pits. So I think tomorrow's going to be promising. A lot learned today for sure. I think we left a little bit on the table in qualifying, but things to learn from, and all preparation for future experience for sure.
Does it give you an added confidence on the race being the
So it's pretty strong to hip check multiple drivers.
I think so for sure. Yes. I've got 5 other teammates that I can lean on and that I'm looking to close the gap to and be fighting with. So that's more of I'd say my focus. But generally,
Okay, he got
Good
one
timing,
part
Jason.
right there.
I have to admit, I may have listened to that clip several times already and was
It's still
ready to
great
go
comedic
right.
timing. It's great comedic timing.
He got the leaning on part right.
Yeah, he was leaning.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Did we ever get Sato's take on their
Well,
run in?
I see it.
I have a minute 43-second clip of Takuma Sato if you would like to hear it.
I don't think we can censor that enough.
Do we have, I mean, I know we're not FCC regulated here, but we may need to be after you play that.
All right. Good. So we had a mixture feeling. Obviously disappointed not to finish the race, but David made a quite exciting race, which was good for the team. But we had a very fast car today. At the start we weren't very good, but then I was immediately back at my position from 5th to 3rd, and then stretched this first stint. So Scott had to dive in due to fuel, and then I overtook Felix, who was leading at the time, but our tire management was better. So then read the race in a perfect first stint. We can't really explain it better than this, but unfortunately we next to the teammate on the pit box, and we had a little issue, and then unfortunately I couldn't come into the box because it was blocked. So we lost a significant position, and then second stint on the way back to my position, unfortunately I was side by side with Di Francesco, and he had a moment and he had come up, and then we had a touch contact, and then I damaged on my suspension. So very unfortunate, but the team did a fantastic job over the course of the weekend.
That
okay.
was a tough race for him. It really was.
That was diplomatic.
That was, I was gonna say, like, with the way
he had a
he
moment.
got
It's such an
Devlin.
understatement.
That is I mean, is he running for president? Like, that is incredibly diplomatic.
It was a really tough race for Sato, though. That's not what we're talking about right now. But just, he qualified 3rd. And remember, he isn't at Dale Coyne this year. Qualified 3rd, ran well, got blocked out of his pit stall by his teammate, and then was making back positions, like he said, and then got Di Francesco'd. And, man.
Is there
Stuff
any
these
irony?
Small teams need these good results.
Is there any irony that Sato'd was a verb just a season or so ago, and now it's DeFrancesco'd?
That was
Yeah, but I think there's a difference between no attack, no chance, and throwing it in there when you are
And oops, I screwed up.
versus I'm way over my head and probably shouldn't be in this car. Like,
Oops, I should still be in lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More money than sense.
I mean, it's great that HMD is in the series, right? Like, love it. Awesome. But woof.
Yeah. And before we
I think,
transfer or transition here to Long Beach, can we say how damn good the race was? We were expecting a snoozer, and we had Palou in the crap PJ1 stuff. Kirkwood was a monster in it. Jimmy Johnson was using it. We had a true groove and a half racetrack, I'll say. Almost 2 grooves. That race was a lot of fun to watch.
We went into Texas expecting it to be how Texas ended, not with a bang, but with a whimper. And we came out of that race going, holy shit, when's Texas coming back? So whatever they did to make the track drivable worked. Now,
Yeah.
if this was a one-time deal and they sign a deal to go back to Texas and shit goes pear-shaped again, well,
I think
I would
if
sign a 1-year contract to
Agreed.
Texas.
I think you have to go back next year especially with the corporate market in Dallas, all the activation, the B2B stuff, and you have to go back early in the year when it's cooler, and you have as long of a possible layover from the last time that NASCAR polluted the track surface with resin, and you do it again the way they did it this year. And I was fairly skeptical of the let's paint some lines and everybody drive above the lines for a bit. But the proof is in the pudding, guys. Like, I was trying to watch the race over a VPN in Canada while flying to Italy on my iPad on Peacock, which thankfully Peacock doesn't, and not that anybody at Peacock listens to this podcast, but they don't block any of the major VPN IP ranges, so I was able to watch. And it was a damn good race. No
I got home
complaints.
from Sebring, and having listened to it on the radio, I still watched it on the Peacock replay, and I was pleasantly surprised with it. I was a pessimist going into it. I was like, hey, this thing's gonna be bad. This is not gonna be a good race. But Texas is dying. We're not gonna see Texas again. Thank God Texas is dead. Now, I will still argue that Texas being the same weekend as Sebring is stupid, and they shouldn't do that again. But Texas being in March might actually have something. But they know when Sebring is going to be next year. Hint, it's around St. Patrick's Day. Schedule Texas the week before or week after.
Yeah.
Not the same
100%.
weekend.
Yeah, I think there's a lot that goes into it. Even things like when the Final Four lands and stuff like that, because AT&T Stadium is one of the host rotation venues for things like the Final Four. There's a lot that you have to consider in terms of making things affordable for people to go to the race. But yes, Texas, early spring. And like Jason said, a lot of time after NASCAR has laid the stuff down. And I think next year, maybe you see more drivers take advantage of that practice session to run it in.
The other variable here, too, is, we had different cars with NASCAR. There's now the new next gen cars. They might race entirely different and not even need the stupid crap. So I think there's that other variable as to what actually happens with NASCAR if they put the stuff down or not. They probably will because NASCAR, but
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one to see. But it is time for us to transition through. We're already at the halfway point here. So let's look ahead to the, what is it now, Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach? I think it's still Acura branding on it. Anyway, we're going to Long Beach. What are our thoughts here? We do have some clips we can play that from the barber test this week that some of the drivers were doing their Long Beach previews. But Long Beach is Long Beach. It's kind of one of the most known entities on the calendar at this point.
Should be fun.
I think one of the cool things about Long Beach is you've got really two premier series in the country coming together in a premier venue. So you get your IMSA race on Saturday, and yeah, it's a short one, but it's still a great race. It never fails to be exciting. It's thankfully not going to have LMP3s, so it won't be a crash fest. But and then you've got IndyCar on Sunday, and then the support stuff is really solid too. It looks like Stadium Super Trucks is in the support lineup. There's a couple of other things that look like they're pretty solid support.
Is Formula Drift coming back this year?
I see Super Drift. I see Carrera Cup. What else is there? Yeah, Stadium Super Trucks. So there's a lot of really good on-track activity in a cool place, right? It's a cool track. I don't want to say it's our Monaco, but it's kind of our Monaco. And it's always a good race. Traditionally it's been beginning of April. I kind of liked it as the season finale last year. I thought that worked really well because it's such a wild card. Sucked for Pato getting murdered at the hairpin in the first lap, but that's what happens at Long Beach. So I think it's great to have it back where it belongs in April, and it's a cool weekend. It's a fun weekend. There's a lot of good racing this weekend too.
We think that there's a driver who needs to have a good race there, or is it too early for that? Has anybody had like a start to the year where they're just like, you should have a good race? You've not had a good race yet.
Alex Rossi.
Well, every race is like that for him, apparently, for the last like 2 years.
And
he's been in that mode for a
pressure
while.
to perform. He's got pressure to perform there because that's his.
I think we've stated as well. I think that he's not going to be back with Andretti this next season.
I don't blame him.
He has not picked up extensions. He has not resigned. Even though I think
he's made it very clear that he's done at Andretti.
Yeah. So if you want to go somewhere else, maybe it's time to have a good race. But other than him,
he's got 2 wins at Long Beach. He's got 18 and 19. Actually, this is great. 2016 finished 20th. 2017 finished 19th. 2018 and 2019 both wins. And obviously it didn't happen in 2020 and 2021 6th. So
he should.
Yeah,
this
he's
is
have a good race.
This is his shot to come back and show everybody he's Angry Rossi, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
I think he needs to stop being Angry Rossi and just get out and drive and try to clear his head. And that's hard, right? You know, we all drive fake race cars, and we all know what red mist is, and we all know what it feels like to be angry, that shit's not going your way. But
I mean,
he's got to figure out a way around it, because it gets worse when he's Angry Rossi lately.
See, I don't think this is Angry Rossi. I don't think the Rossi we're seeing is that Angry Rossi. I think what we're seeing is detached, depressed, just can't deal with it any Rossi. I feel like he's just so kind of destroyed on how the last few years have gone that he's just not able to get back to that level because of trying to work through everything that's gone on the last couple of years. So if we can get him back to that angry Ross, we'll see his performance pick back up. But until then, I'm not sure.
But I think even if he needs a change of scenery to really be himself again, he still has to show that he can do it. Like I don't think, and I don't think there's any doubt that he's a good driver. It's just the doubt is in his performance and in his. I don't know.
I,
want to say his,
I
I want
think
to say
it's
his
a fair.
attitude. His attitude.
I think it's a fair question, Ben, because at some point you'd hear talk about guys who, especially in the stick and ball sports, they're a cancer in the locker room. They're this, they're that, they're not the right person to have on your team. Is that a possibility of the discussion surrounding Alexander Rossi at this point? If the discussion becomes the guy's a head case, do I really want to risk that?
But there's a documented history. Like those guys, the Miami Heat in basketball are a great example of this. They have a really strong culture, and when these guys who are, impulsive and a little mature, a little headstrong, when they go there, they get whipped into shape and they get with the culture, and it helps them succeed.
Until you come across a player like Jimmy Butler, who's kind of the antithesis of that Heat culture when things are going wrong. You've seen it in every place he's been at: Minnesota, Philly, Chicago. Oh, when things are going good and everything is clicking, he's unreal and he takes that team to a higher level. However, as soon as things start to fall apart, his attitude goes in the toilet and the team goes into the toilet. I mean, hell, I saw it I watched it happen right before my eyes just a few weeks ago when in the Heat were playing my Warriors without any of the big three, and we completely stomped him. And he got so pissed off to the point him and Eric Spoelstra almost fought on the sideline. The more I think about
into basketball,
Rossi, yeah, the more
How
I
do
think
you have time to run in like 87 different iRacing leagues,
he
stay on
doesn't
top
sleep.
of
He doesn't
racing,
sleep.
and you're like the NBA Oracle aficionado that knows
he doesn't
I'm blown
sleep.
away.
He doesn't sleep. I'm
that's
telling you.
because I have basketball on my iPad while I'm racing.
Amazing. But my point is this. There are people who need strong environments to help them succeed. Okay, and I think Alex Rossi is probably one of these guys where he needs support. He needs to know that the team has his back. And they need to be a strong, firm environment where it's like, no, get it together. Let's go. Let's go as a team. We're going to succeed. I don't think Andretti's that environment at all.
I think there's another thing here too, though. Look at the public persona that Rossi's putting out there. He's a grumpy guy. He's a curmudgeon. He's always cranky. He doesn't like anything. But I think that's not an act, right? I think that's legitimately him. And even in the professional world, where you've got a high performing team and you've got the one guy who's constantly negative, who's constantly bringing things down, it hurts the whole team. And I don't know what his deal is, and he really needs to either hire a publicist or a psychologist or both who can get his shit together, because quite frankly, he's an embarrassment. He's not performing on track, and he's an asshole.
But I think you see other drivers in other disciplines too who are assholes, but they win. Right? Kyle Busch is a great example of this. He's a giant jerk on a regular basis, but he wins and he's good.
Well,
right? This is my point. JGR is a top tier A class organization, and they keep their guys. They support them. They back them up. And Kyle Busch might know that the fans hate him, but he knows that JGR has his back. I don't think
And at the
Andretti
risk of
is
turning
that
this into a NASCAR podcast, I think Kyle really leans into that heel persona a bit because you hear stories about people who have met him and say that he's nothing like the public face that he puts on, whereas you hear people that meet Rossi and think, yeah, he's kind of a dick. So I think Kyle.
My point is that if you want to be this guy,
it sells.
Then you need, but he needs that. But if Rossi is a dick, he's a dick. Like, let's just say that if that's what it is, that's what it is. But he needs to fix it, and it doesn't seem like he can, or he needs to be in a place where they're going to fix it for him. And I'm saying Andretti is not that place. Andretti's not going to do that. Andretti is by no means
doing
the peak of, I don't know. You and Jason could probably speak more to this than I can. That does not look like a successful organization or a place you want to work.
It's absolutely
It just
not
doesn't.
a successful organization. I mean, look at how disheveled everything Andretti is. Anything that Andretti touches lately turns to crap. Their IndyCar team sucks. They ran Christian Rasmussen out of fuel at St. Pete. Their LMP3 car completed a lap at Sebring before the engine blew up.
And not just
Anything
blew up,
Andretti
but it was pouring coolant straight out the header.
Like, anything that
Andretti
Andretti touches turns to crap. And we've talked about it repeatedly, that there's no one in charge at Andretti.
Yeah, and especially since the F1
where I'm
stuff
sitting,
started, it's the inverse Midas touch. It is like an absolute train wreck of a dumpster fire on top of a nuclear meltdown of a racing team, an organization right now.
All of this is probably not looking, the FAA is probably not looking favorably on this, going, yeah, we don't want another HRT to come into the series. We don't want another Caterham to come into F1. If we're going to bring someone in, we want someone who can perform. And quite frankly, nothing Andretti is doing right now is showing any level of performance. And before you start adding more shit to your stable, you got to get the shit that's made your name right first. Andretti has historically been associated with IndyCar. They've been performers in IndyCar. They need to get their crap together. Otherwise, they're not... It's not a good look, and it's embarrassing. I mean, so going back to Rossi, right? Whatever the team did in 2018 and 2019, he was, second in the points. He was third in the points. He had a whole bunch of wins. Things were really clicking in 2018, 2019. 2020, he had a lot of bad finishes, but then he also had a string of podiums. He had a third at Mid-Ohio, a second at Mid-Ohio, a second at Indy Road Course, a third at Indy Road Course. He had a string where he was actually on the podium every single race. He had a podium at Road America. Obviously that was a screwed up year, but the car was still performing and he was still performing. And we're like, oh, cool. Like, he started slow. 2020 is kind of weird. We get it. And he picked it up with, and then last year was hot garbage. And this year is hot garbage.
Do you think I don't know. I think the pandemic may have done a number on Andretti. It's too perfectly timed that the aero screen comes in, they have to change everything. The pandemic makes it harder. They can't change everything. And
I would almost say that,
and honestly,
it might be the aero screen might be it, but I don't know. At the risk of
it feels a little like, I don't know. Like you're making it, I don't know. I don't want to say demeaning or insulting, but like, I think Alexander Rossi is a good enough race car driver to be able to drive at a high level with the aero screen. I think that's a pretty shoddy experience.
Unless they're giving him a car that's an absolute piece of crap and they're setting
I think that's more likely. I think it's more likely that Andretti hasn't figured out the aero screen.
Here's my take on this one. Andretti was known for several years when they were, I don't want to say dominant, but very, very good. their damper program was class of the field. Nobody else was close to them on
And
that.
they're not right now. They're not
And they're
the top
not.
of the heap damper program.
Maybe that's where the pandemic allowed other people to catch up. When you're talking about a world that you have to run lots of simulations and lots of computer modeling, maybe that's where some of these other teams have stumbled on something that at least caught them up.
Well, isn't Andretti going to have the quantum computing? Sorry, I couldn't even finish the sentence.
I think, though,
hey, another Andretti program that turned to garbage. Their supercars program. Chaz Mostert has a really good start to the season, and then they're hot garbage at Simmons Plains.
And what are they doing in Formula E right now?
I don't think they're
Sucking,
great.
probably.
I think Askew is impressing people, and Dennis is doing all right. But I think that Mike makes making a... No, I don't watch Formula E. I will watch the Monaco race, though, because that's going to be incredible. It was incredible last year. It'll be incredible again.
I'll watch the Rome race just because it's not anywhere in a representative portion of Rome that people actually recognize.
To close it up, though, I think that I think Mike is making a good point about Andretti. They are doing entirely too much. They have people doing this, that, the other, and they need to focus on their main program. And it should be IndyCar. I really want it to be IndyCar.
I mean, you could tell me they were running a Superbike and MotoGP program right now, and I'd believe you.
I would be like, oh, really? Oh, cool. Oh, they have an Extreme E team? If I told you
they have an Extreme E team, too.
Do they have an Extreme E team?
They absolutely do.
Of course they do.
They absolutely do.
See, I mean, why? There's no point. There's no point. Stop it, cut it out, sell it. Stop it, Michael, stop it. Get back to work with IndyCar, win the championship again in IndyCar, which is your premier series. Just do Formula E and IndyCar. There you go. Open wheelers.
All right, boys, it is time to actually move on to Long Beach now. Let's do this one. First clip, just for Ben.
Super excited to get back to Long Beach. It's a place that I spent so much time dreaming of racing on as a kid. Had a great experience when I was there in the fall. Had a great run. I was able to pass some cars late in the race and have one of my better, more competitive races. So hopeful that having a few more races under my belt, test session, 2 test sessions actually, that my progression will allow me to qualify higher and then obviously run higher in the race.
So Jimmy Johnson sounds confident, but he could also make a bowl of soup sound confident.
He's just a fantastic, fantastic person.
He sounds like an open wheel race car driver. He sounds like he fits.
Quite frankly, he sounds like a guy that needs to mentor Alexander Rossi.
Yeah. I could not think of 2 more different personalities.
Maybe that's
Quite
why
possibly one of the calmest people and most even-headed people you will ever meet in Jimmy Johnson.
Okay.
And Alex Rossi.
All I know is I need a sitcom with just Rossi and Jimmy Johnson just doing random things.
The amount of shots you will get of Jimmy Johnson's confused face, where he's just like, what are you doing? Why are you so upset? Calm down.
Things
Yes.
I didn't know I needed till now.
Let's hear from
Yep, I am here.
the champ. Well, not reigning, but he has a lot of them.
Cool. Looking forward to Long Beach. It's a fun track, a great event. Last year, it feels like we were just there actually. So I'm looking forward to getting back there. Hoping to get a win. At least for the team would be fantastic for one of us to get on that top step. Had a great run there last year. So fingers crossed we can have a smooth run at Long Beach and get on that top step.
That's what we expect from Scott Dixon, right?
That is a Scott Dixon interview.
Yes. With the sunglasses, the goofy clear frame sunglasses with the blue reflective perched up on top of the hat. Do you think he just cuts those? Like he cuts one and then they just replace the name of the track?
Oh, for sure. Does Scott
like
really
that-
only have one Long Beach win? Am I reading this right? Scott's only won there once.
I think so. But I'm going to totally date myself with this next comment, and I doubt anyone here recognize it, but I'm of a particular age where I grew up listening to Jim Rome, and he had this...
oh, no.
No, I don't readily admit that now because the guy's an absolute tool bag. But he had this bit where he would talk about Tiger's press conference responses, where it was literally like what Chris said, like cut and paste, like the golf course was good, my golf swing felt good, I like my chances. Like that's like the straight up Scott Dixon interview every time.
Now, outside of maybe Long Beach and Indy, I mean, he does have a 1 win at each, but there's probably 2 places that Scott Dixon does not look forward to going to: Long Beach and Indy. Kind of incredible, quite frankly, that Scott Dixon can have more championships than we've had wives combined, and he only has 2 crown jewels.
Oh,
Just shows you how hard it is to win in Indianapolis and Long Beach, I guess.
I was gonna say it shows you how hard it is to get rid of wives.
Oh no!
Oh, and Jason, no. I hope
Jason's going to
Mrs.
end up in the
J07 doesn't
recycling
watch
bin
this.
for an entirely different reason this week.
Not for me. I love my wife. I was just saying in general.
You're right. Yep. Okay.
Hey,
Hear that,
Jason Owens,
J07?
love my wife. Don't listen to what that other guy said.
It was Jason Owens 6 that said it, not Jason Owens 5.
I J05. I love my wife, not J06. I don't know who that is.
Oh no!
Wow.
We have Long Beach picks to do.
Yes, we have Long Beach picks, and the last thing to discuss. Actually, Jason just showed it here in our little Discord chat.
Oh, please, no.
Graham Rahal.
Conversation.
Yes, we are going to. Graham Rahal.
Doesn't he have a few more Ducatis to sell or something before? Like,
why do you think he
got
wants
a
to
whole
go to
collection
Italy?
Of Carrera GTs, apparently. He's working on selling.
Why doesn't he just go do the RLL MotoGP team and be quiet?
We had this discussion a couple of weeks ago. He's your quiet 275 outfielder who just hangs out and does his job and gets paid.
He is the Mendoza line.
Yes.
No, he's way above the Mendoza line.
Which reminds me, I am the Graham Rahal of the RIL and many of the leagues run in.
You are Thunderchuck, though, so.
Well, yeah, it's not an Indy car. That's why.
Oh. Yeah, you have terrible names.
What do we make of Mr. Rahal's assertion that if F1 is going to come to our turf, IndyCar needs to go to theirs?
I think I'm actually going to bypass that and go to what I think was the more important thing that he said, which we talked a lot about schedule date equity on this pod. But he said, like, we need to do something where we have, like, our core schedule and then a rotating component where we do Burke Lakefront 1 year and then Watkins Glen and then back and alternate year to year. That is really intriguing to me. I don't think the series is on a healthy enough financial footing yet to go to Europe, Central or South America, potentially. But you also have to get somebody that's either going to pay the sanctioning fee or pay the promotion fee. And I don't think there's anybody in a position to do that right now in Central or South America.
And that goes back to the point that I was making a couple weeks ago, is that the series, if they want to do this, needs to foot some of the money and needs to front some of the money, because there's nobody who's willing to take a risk on IndyCar. There's nobody who's willing to promote something and have to put their money on the line for nobody to show up. I do like that he related this to PGA golf, because that does seem like the most Graham Rahal analogy.
God. I think there is a point to be made here that IndyCar should be in Canada more, and they should be in Mexico and whatever South American, Central American country has a grade 2 circuit, and is willing to work with them. They should do that and work up that audience down there, because F1's only going to what? What do we have? We have the 3 US races. It's hard to go to those, as we know. We have Montreal. We have Mexico, Brazil, and that's it. Those are the Americas, right? 5 races. Or 6 races, I'm sorry. Next year, it'll be 6 races.
I am going to
One
take
in
a
Central and South
contrarian
America.
point to all of you. I think with the economic climate that we are in right now, I mean, Stefano Domenicali came out and said that Monaco now has to pay a sanction fee. That has never happened in the history of Formula One. We are looking at a situation where potentially Silverstone, Spa, Paul Ricard, and or Barcelona could be outside looking in on the F1 calendar. This is a chance for IndyCar to go over there and say, look, the parades that you guys watched at $1,000 a ticket, we're going to charge you $50 a ticket, and you're going to see a badass race.
Yeah, but who is flying the entire IndyCar paddock to Europe? Who's footing that bill? The series doesn't have that money.
FedEx! Oh, wait. That was 20 years ago.
DHL.
Wrong series.
I mean, they sponsor Grosjean. It's not that far out.
Yeah, that's the amount of money they're willing to spend on IndyCar is Grosjean.
Oh, we can watch Grosjean do testing. Actually, he should do that.
There are logistical questions for sure.
Let's do that.
But I think the best possible course of action for IndyCar is to say, we're going to run a 2 or 3 race European stint. We're going to be over there for 5 or 6 weeks. And yes, it sort of blows the schedule up a little bit, but it takes a great product and puts it right up in the face of European watchers.
I think it would be good. There's a lot of unused. There's a lot of unused tracks, though. But I think part of the thing that, it'd be great to have a race at the Nürburgring GP again, or Manicours, or Breath, or any of these tracks that Formula One just doesn't go to anymore. The issue is that Europe is the size of the East Coast, and they can go wherever they want. And I know there's financial issues. I know that, but
to build that audience, because
this is what I'm getting to.
Nobody's going to pay to host IndyCar at Silverstone, and 1,000 people show up. You've got to build that audience. That audience
is
my
there.
Point. There's still this preconceived notion in Europe that IndyCar is just a bunch of rednecks going in circles. And yeah, IndyCar's doing an okay job of starting to publicize themselves, but we still see this in our IndyCar subreddit, right? Is F1 people coming in with preconceived notions about IndyCar, and they're happily dismissed, but there's a lot of people that still think that IndyCar is an inferior series with inferior cars. It's a spec series. Nobody wants to watch a spec series. The rules are stupid. The drivers aren't the best in the world. Why am I going to pay to watch this? And you've got to build that audience. And I don't know who's doing that promotion, because IndyCar's not. IndyCar likes their core audience of middle-aged white men.
I think you start that promotion in Canada and in Mexico, where we have the young Mexican driver. In Brazil,
Be
where
really
IndyCar has been
careful about
before.
trying. But if you
These
try
are
to
the
go
places we
head-to-head
should
with
be doing
F1,
it. You don't need to
there's
go
a
head to head.
comparison. But people are still going to look at lap times. The first thing that happened with Coda is everyone looked at the lap times, and then everyone looked at how IndyCar and F1 raced there, and all the IndyCar fans, you could see this. Like you could draw a line on Reddit and guess just by reading a comment if they were an IndyCar fan or an F1 fan, based on if they thought the Coda race was cool and the track limit, enforcement was, perfect. And this is stupid. They're slow. Why do they let them go outside the lines? You could tell who was a fan of who, and I don't know.
Right. So you don't go to FIA Grade 1 circuits. You go to Grade 2 and Grade 3 in Europe that have fan capacity, and you don't have head-to-head times with F1.
Screw it, Le Mans. Actually, they'd probably be pretty cool in the Bugatti circuit.
Put it on the Bugatti circuit, yeah.
I think there's some sense to like, hey, we're going to go to Brands Hatch GP, and you're not going to have to go through all the shit you go through to get into Silverstone and to get into the British GP. It's cheaper. It's going to be a sweet fucking race. Hey, we're going to come here, a good amount of time to British GT. But you start building that audience outside of middle-aged white Midwestern men. You start that where you don't have to cross an ocean. You go up to Canada. You go down to Mexico. And you start building that audience out there. You don't start building it
Weren't we talking
Europe.
about Long Beach? I feel like we were
we were talking about
Graham Rahal.
This conversation. God, I hate Graham Rahal.
Okay.
Can
we run down the entry list here?
God.
Can we just go to Lausitz on the oval?
No.
Is English Rockingham still around, or
Let's
is
go.
that?
Please, let's
It's a
stop
car
talking about
park
Europe.
now.
I don't want to talk about Europe anymore.
Rosenquist from Sweden,
makes Ben
Ericsson
sad.
from Sweden, Palou from Spain, VK from the Netherlands, Grosjean from Switzerland/France, Lundgaard from
Still
Denmark,
Europe.
Harvey from England, Pagano from France, Eilert from England. Half the damn field is European.
Sickening.
I'm
mean,
down, Tony George.
Whoa, up there, Tony George. But
Look, if we have an international grid,
Do you want front
don't
engines
mention all
back,
the
Ben?
Canadians
Yes or
in
no?
there, by the way. What?
Do you want front engine Offenhausers back? Yes or no? Real quick.
West
No,
does.
I want mechanics on the cars.
All right.
I-
Clearly, you're well beloved on IndyCar Reddit.
No, look, we have an international driving crew. We do. There's no anything else. It's what it is. We have, and this is not in 2024 we go to Europe. This is in 2029 we have a substantial fan base. This is not a quick thing. Graham Rahal will not be racing when this happens. He shouldn't be. But we can go to Mosport. We can go to Montreal.
No, we can't go to Mosport.
you can't go to most
No,
sport.
that would be a disaster.
You can't go to Mosport. People
We
will
can
die.
go
You can't go to Mosport.
We can go somewhere other than fucking Road America for once. That's my point. Like, we can go outside the U.S. and we don't have to go across an ocean. Why are we not in Brazil? We should be in Brazil.
You heard it
Because
here
it
first,
costs
people.
money to get to Brazil.
Ben Carswell wants to take the date away from Road America and give it to Brazil.
I would.
He hates sports cars. He hates Road
I
America.
would.
Ben Carswell is a candidate we just can't believe in.
I would. No, be honest.
Mike
Where would you
McCall
rather
is
see a
president.
race? Laguna Seca or Interlagos? Be honest. It's Interlagos.
Laguna Seca.
No,
That's
I'd
yeah.
rather see it on,
absurd. That's-
I'd rather
that's
see it on the
ridiculous.
Vancouver
Interlagos.
street circuit. It's got to be Vancouver. Like, go to Vancouver.
Brilliant. A Vancouver street circuit. Although I would say we should probably move it to the northeast somewhere.
That's only failed twice.
But
It's
No,
actually
like-
failed 3 times. So
yeah. But I mean, there's no excuse. I know there's no money. Get the money. You want to succeed, go get the money, go get the funding, go get people to watch the race. You're the promoters, and by you I mean
So
Roger
easy.
Penske.
You make it sound so easy. Get
Right?
the money.
It's not supposed
He's
to be
over here
easy.
breaking
It's really hard.
kneecaps.
let's
Go-
give
go
up the
do it.
bratwurst and beer capital of the world that has date equity and packs the place out and go to Brazil.
Obviously,
Which-
you keep Road
fine.
America. Well, did you see the stands at Laguna Seca last year?
Ben, here's the thing. You
We
literally
had
have to cross an
restrictions in
ocean to get to
California
Brazil.
still.
There is no road through the damn forest
You know that.
in Central America. You can't get there. You have
Here's
to
my
cross
point.
the ocean.
Here is my point. We have an IndyCar schedule where how many of the races have like 20% attendance? Laguna Seca was practically empty last year.
Are you there?
We had
I watched the
still.
stands. I
we
saw the
weren't
stands.
allowed to have a full.
I lived in Monterey. I know what that crowd is like. They're not going to go. It has not had a good crowd. Why are we not moving that somewhere else?
Ben, just go look at a
Because
picture
Laguna
of Jimmy
Seca is
Johnson.
an
You need to
iconic
calm
track.
down.
We're
Channel
not-
your
it's
idol.
fundamentally lazy to not try and do new things. What are we doing that's new things? Nashville?
Literally, they put a whole freaking brand new Grade 1 street circuit in Nashville 8 months ago.
Ben's had
This
one
is
too
the
many
first
German
time-
beers, but this is fun.
This is the first time since 2008, really since the split, so 1996, where we can say that IndyCar might actually be a little healthy right now. But I think it's still very tenuous. Like, we're talking about all of this. We're not even going to have 33 cars on the grid for the 500, possibly. They're literally talking about how do we get that 33rd car. So before we talk about packing up the whole paddock and flying somewhere and getting that money, we need to fill our freaking crown jewel first. Like we've had a decent run of like actual like teams showing up and getting bumped and bump day and all that good stuff. And now we're gonna have 32 cars on the grid. We can't even find a 33rd car to fill the field for the 500 this year. So the IndyCar is healthy right now, but it's like barely healthy.
I think that's a pretty good spot to leave it, quite frankly, because it's not on life support anymore, but I don't know that it's ready to run the marathon as bad as I want it to. One of those deals that you just
It's
can't.
been sent home with an
rush it.
oxygen tank right now.
I wouldn't go that far. But
It's not in the ICU. It's rehabbing at home.
It's recovering from long COVID.
Right, and I'm saying in a year it should go for a run. I'm not saying they should go for a run right now. I'm just saying, in like 2027, 2026, 2028.
That was
we
a
should be
quick
looking
jump
to do
from
stuff.
a year to 5 years.
Yeah, I was.
Let's not gloss
They're
over
in
that
front of
one.
you, Ben.
No, the
Do you know
hospital
what year
metaphor
it
is a
is?
year. I'm saying is in the hospital metaphor. I do work in a hospital. My
All
point
right.
is this: IndyCar should start
All right,
doing
let's
stuff.
move on.
Can
we do our
Please, let's move on. Move on.
it's time to do picks so we can all look like,
If anyone's left listening,
quite frankly, idiots again.
I think it's just a.
Time to do our
what
picks.
if people leave us on to sleep?
Now that
You
track.
have nightmares.
We're
Yeah,
the
terrible idea.
ASMR of racing podcasts.
Yes.
I would quit the podcast if we were noticed.
And this is why I think Will Power is going to win this weekend.
Do you ever have any reason for that?
All right.
Likes
Picks for
willpower.
Long Beach. Jason, you were the loser last week. That gives you the first pick in the first round. Who is your winner this weekend at Long Beach?
Dang it. I'm going to go with. Man, I'm really struggling right now to pick a winner. I'm going to. Can I pass? And
You would have to pick last then.
I'm going to say Dixon takes his second.
Interesting pick. Close to chalk, but not really. Brings us to somehow our points leader was second worst last week. Shows us how intelligent we are. James Watson, tell us why Will Power is going to win this weekend.
Because he's having a really great season, and it's been I think he's only ever won Long Beach once. So I'd
Twice.
like to think that, has he won? Oh,
Yep.
right. If you consider the 2008,
2008.
that's right. Yep. I forgot about that. Yeah, I'd like to think that enough things fall into place for him to bring home the first W of the season. However, I'm
Would
less
move him
confident here than
into
I am
pretty
at most.
elite company. Sebastian Bourdais has 3. Paul Tracy has 4. Al Unser Jr. has 6. Michael Andretti has 4. So not many drivers with 3 wins on the streets of Long Beach. Good pick. I like it. Third on the list, Ben Carswell.
I am Roman Grosjean. He ran up front last year. Where did he qualify? 6th last year, made in the Fast 6. His type of track, I think he'll do well.
All right. It's my turn to pick now, since Mike McCullen was our winner last weekend.
Chris is about to pick the winning anchovy.
Yeah, somehow I ended up with the second most points. That's impressive. Anyway, I think you have to be dumb to go anywhere else other than Scotty Mack. At this point, the guy's doing unreal things, and he's got to show me a reason that he can't do it. Which leaves us to Mr. McCullen.
I'm going to go with Renger van de Zander and Sebastian Bourdais in the 01 Cadillac DPI. Oh, wait, wrong race. Pillow.
Interesting. What makes you say Alex Palou?
He's got a shot. Finished 4th, won the championship last year there. I don't know.
Okay.
I think he's good. I don't know. I just got a feeling. I feel like he's going to do okay.
He's got a feeling, people. He has found Shadow Jesus, and he is feeling it.
No, I would have picked Jimmy
right.
Johnson in that case.
Back to Jason Owens. Who is our anchovy of the week? Most likely to land in the fountain.
I'm going to go with Graham Rahal. Will put his car in the fountain.
So basically, he can't get the foot out of his mouth to handle the accelerator and braking.
Yes.
All right. James, back
He's
to
trying
you.
to take it across the pond himself.
I think he can launch his car all the way to Suzuka.
Maybe Vancouver, depending on what direction you hit the fountain at. James, who's your pick? Anchovy of the week.
I'm gonna say Pato, because I know he got punted last year, but he really wasn't looking all that. And I'm not entirely sure if his aggressive driving style really works well on a track like Long. So I can see him getting on the brakes a little too hard, locking up, and parking it in the fountain.
Ben, we are to you.
I'm gonna go with Connor Daly.
Fresh off a 4th place finish at the Freedom 500, driving Crown Vics around the old DeSoto Speedway. He even lost positions there. Qualified second.
He can't even win that.
Didn't he
No.
destroy a Crown Vic?
No. Oh, well, yeah. Okay. He did on Thursday. Oh, my God, did he kill a Crown Vic. He hit so hard. He wrecked off of turn 2, finished the wreck in the middle of turns 3 and 4, and tore the entire right-hand side off of Crown Vic. It was awesome.
Amazing.
It's
Put
impressive.
it on poll for that. Lost to Tanner Faust.
Tanner Faust, yes. Tanner Faust, Brian Deegan. I forget who finished third. Actually, Deegan won it, but it was a good show.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, shit. It's my turn. This feels like too much of a chalk pick to say Alexander Rossi. At this point, somebody else can steal Anchovy of the Week by having a mediocre day. Scott McLaughlin finishes mid-pack. He's probably Anchovy of the Week. I will say Marcus Ericsson. He's either going to go airborne and win or be absolute junk. If there was a guy who could land in the fountain and still win, it would be Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah, and based off of your pick so far this season for Anchovy, that's probably what he's going to do.
Yeah, Long Beach winner, Marcus Ericsson.
And once again, Chris Graham is last in the Anchovy of the Week.
I'm okay with that. It's not like a commentator's curse or something. It's saying, I think you're going to do shitty this week, and you outperformed what I expected. You had a good week. Mike, your pick.
I'm thinking that the car that ends up in the fountain this weekend is going to be the Rick Ware Racing 51 of Ryan Eversley and Aiden. Damn it, wrong race. Wrong entry list. I don't know.
You did call Rick Ware Racing, though.
Yeah.
There's a number 51 of.
That would be Takuma Sato.
Sounds like a good pick. I was going to go with Rosenquist, but I'll take Sato. He's always good for destruction.
He calls Rick Ware. That, by the way, it's going to be Sato going Punterino on Ericsson. Hairpin, lap 1. No attack, no chance. All right, with that, I think we should probably get the hell out of here. It's, we're hour and 20 minutes in. Good Good show. Are we doing the watch along on Sunday? I think we should.
Maybe.
I'm gonna be a zombie with all the racing that's on this weekend.
We will be zombies anyway. The iRacing Nürburgring 24 hours is this weekend.
Good luck,
And
suckers.
yeah.
I'll help.
I don't know.
I'm going to help engineer you guys, but I ain't fucking racing Nürburgring.
Oh, well, at least we'll
Nope.
get you somehow.
Honestly,
I offered my
I will help
540
engineer you
iRating.
to.
let's log off and
I
then
will
we'll talk
engineer
about
you
it.
to 5 minutes of fuel too short.
Well, then you can jump in and save it.
You've got a job waiting for you at Andretti Autosport. All right, it's time to go. Show was good. Hopefully you people enjoyed it. Let us know. Shoot us a message. Tell us to get the hell off the air. We might consider it. For Ben Carswell, James Watson, Jason Owens, Mike McCullen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Tell us we're idiots. Shoot us a tweeter at the NRN TV. You can also message us on Facebook, YouTube, and all the podcasting platforms as well. Until then, we will see you all Sunday. We think. Maybe. This is Pizza at the Pagoda, an IndyCar podcast. See you later.